Well, hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm talking to Sam Straus. It's my first time talking to him ever, so this you'll see like a really authentic conversation between the two of us, just about his experience in Tepper so far, and kind of just see why did he pick CMU. So Sam, can you quickly give me a little background where you're from and why you decided to pick Tepper?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Sam Straus. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm an incoming freshman to the Tepper School of Business. When it came to deciding Tepper for me, the first thing I knew I wanted when it came to higher education was to attend an undergraduate business school. I've been business oriented for the majority of my life, and so naturally following this, I wanted to pursue an undergraduate business education. I come from an independent high school in Los Angeles. There were 85 kids in my grade. So I was really used to a small, close-knit group of people where everyone knew everyone. And so the idea of going to a college or university was just daunting to like leave home in a weird sense because I had been going to the same school from kindergarten through 12th grade. So something that really appealed to me about Tepper was that there are fewer than 200 kids in each year. So that allowed for me to have the comfort of knowing that it's going to have that small knit community vibe. But at the same time, I'd also have the duality to play on the other side of the coin of, oh, well, now I can play within this larger community of the whole undergraduate body in my year. So like 1,700 kids, let alone the 7,000 kids in the undergraduate program. So I think for me, it was having knowing that I'd have like that small community, but at the same time, the duality of being able to play within and try to play in within a bigger school and see what I think of that.
Yeah, I definitely understand. So again, I came from Michigan and I was the only person I knew. There was one person that like I kind of had mutual connections with, but that was about it. So I guess from your perspective, why did you decide to travel across the country when you could have probably found a school that most of your other fellow classmates had gone to?
Yeah, for sure. I think, and it's funny, I'm in the same situation. There was I think one person who I had mutual connections with, and it was like she also went to an independent school in Los Angeles, and like it was one of the schools we played in sports and stuff. Like I never knew her well. She just went to some school, and I saw her on Instagram, and I was like, oh, like people who I know are following her. What are the odds? Because she was like the first person and the only person I found like that. But I think when it came to choosing like why, go to Pittsburgh, like I knew I wanted to go somewhere with history first off. Like I love Los Angeles, and like right now I'd probably want to go back there like after I graduate. Who knows if that'll change over the next 4 years though. And I just like the idea of going somewhere with history, because like in Los Angeles, like it's like, whoa, this place is really old. It's from like the 1970s. And then you come here and it's like, this is really old. It's from the 1700s. And it's like a cool shift there. On top of that, like I really appreciate the idea of being able to live somewhere drastically different from where I grew up, to learn to adjust and grow and be more independent. But on top of that, like just like the shift of like trying to live on the East Coast, like that to me was really appealing. And so to be able to do that in a city like Pittsburgh, like it seemed like an awesome opportunity, and I wanted to take advantage of being able to do that for years and then stay here after I want to, or just go back and learn from this experience and apply that to whatever life I pursue, wherever I end up moving after school.
Definitely. Have you been around Pittsburgh at all? I don't know, when you maybe took a admission tour? I don't know.
Yeah, so we didn't do any formal tour because of quarantine, but I came here a few days early with my mom, and we did like a biking tour of Pittsburgh, which was pretty cool to be able to just go around. And it was like definitely like coming from LA, I know what like a tour looks like versus the reality of a place, because you always see tour buses going around and stuff. But it was cool to just like be able to just go around and like on a bike too. So as opposed to like driving around in the rental car, we were like actually on the street, like biking around. And it was just cool to see different things and learn the more general, like the more go-to places and where people hang out and what's from where and what's like crucial to the history and what's more just that's pretty.
But one place did you find that stood out to you? Or is there one?
I think if one place that stood out to me, I mean, it's tough. I would say I thought when it came, like the two things, like I think for me, it mostly came down to the architecture of the city, because like you see like how many buildings have, I think there was one, how many buildings have history, right? Like our tour guide told us there was like one building we saw the whole time that was like, that's just the building. But like there were like everything else, it was like, oh, so-and-so built this in the 1900s because X, Y, and Z. And then because of that, that building was created to house this company. And like, I think if I had to pick like one of those that was cool to me, it was probably like the Heinz Towers. Like, I just think it's just something's cool about like seeing a brand like, and like the fact that like it used to be made there and it used to be like this center for everything, and now they're lofts or whatever, which is bizarre. But it was just cool to like see places like that are linked to big brand names in the US.
Yeah, I think that's cool because like for me, my first year, I really didn't venture off campus except for like our one orientation event. And so for me, it was kind of more hearsay. So it was kind of cool that you got that experience like firsthand now, especially in like such tough times. And so I guess my advice for you as you move in is continue to go down there and like be a part of that. There's like the Duquesne Incline, which I don't know if you are familiar with. So it's like a cable car that will take you to the top of like, and you can view all of downtown and like all the bridges and stuff. That's something that's really cool. And I think most people, I don't know, if you don't know someone from Pittsburgh, I feel like you miss that. But that's someplace, and your school ID gets you in for free. So you just got to get there somehow. But you have 4 years, so you're fine.
Especially if it's free, so down.
But yeah, so definitely our school IDs get us in a lot of places. So like where did I go? I went to the Andy Warhol Museum. That was really cool. Again, it's more downtown, but I got in. My admission was free. My grandparents had to pay, but it was really cool, and like not some place I would just go on my own. So when your family comes or you have a visitor or something, I definitely recommend, or if you get a car, going around and just checking it all out, because like you mentioned, there is so much history. There's so many things to see.
For sure. Did you have a car here, or do you have a car here?
No, I've never had a car. There's a Zipcar account that I have. And so with your student ID or student email, you get it. It's like $15 for the year. And then you can rent a car from like the campus garage. And so that's what I've used if I needed to like go get groceries when I lived off campus or something like that. I found that was a very easy way to get around. Also, when things were different, I would Uber a lot. But usually the bus systems are good. So where I lived, it was hard to get to the grocery store, and with all your groceries, it was kind of tough. But in general, the bus system is how I would get to campus, or go to Oakland to get food. I've never ridden it all the way downtown because I'm scared I'm going to miss my stop, but yeah. So I guess, go ahead.
I just downloaded the transit app, but I still need to learn how to use it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like right now. When I was there in the spring, they were canceling different routes, so it wasn't even accurate. So, I mean, I guess there's a million different apps, so I don't know if yours is, but just be careful. I mean, if you get on a 61, you'll end up in Oakland, or a 61 basically takes you wherever you need to go. Yeah. Have you been using a planner yet, or is there something you use to get organized?
Yeah, so I think right now we're like an O-week orientation week, and so the schedule is very similar for everyone in that like that we've been getting emails every day, and it's also like on Canvas, which is like the site we've been using to like look at schedules, and like the site we're going to use for different courses remotely. And I think even after remote learning, there's keep those in place. But no, because since the schedule is similar for everyone, like I just go on there every day and check out like what times what, because typically things start at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and then they'll go to like 8, or I think it was like until 10, and there's like a few breaks throughout that, obviously. But yeah, no, that's what I've been relying on right now. Anything outside of that, though, my go-to is like the calendar app on my phone, just because it's so easy to adjust and change, and I can put links and stuff on there for Zooms. And since everything is remote, like right now, like even for this meeting, like I just had a thing on my calendar, and I was like, okay, Zoom with Melissa, and I just had the link there so that I didn't have to worry about it.
I have to get up today.
Exactly. And it was just doing that to try and stay organized. I think obviously that'll shift once school starts, and I'll start using my app a lot more. What about you? What did you use, or what do you use?
So I live through my Google Calendar. I sound silly, but like if I'm gonna do laundry, I make sure I put it in there, because otherwise I totally like will be like, oh yeah, I'm free, I can come hang out. But I live through my Google Calendar. All of my classes are in there. All of my meetings are in there. I use like my task list. I have like too many things right now to do. But if you have an app that works, I think use it. And if you have any place to like write down upcoming deadlines or I guess keep like your assignments organized, then you'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm a fan of the Google Calendar for like time things that are with other people. But I just do sticky notes with like a checklist that I gotta cross off because that's so satisfying.
I used to do individual sticky notes so I could like grab them off, crumple them up, and throw them out and be like, okay, I'm done.
My version of that is like I love to rip them and throw them away, so I know I'm like never going back to them. I'm just like, I did it, it's over.
So what did you do in high school that you want to maybe get involved in now in college, or is there anything new that you're looking to get involved in college?
Yeah, for sure. So I think for me, the two things, like the two like umbrellas of an activity that I was involved in during high school that I really enjoyed were working with kids and like business related activities. So for the business related activities, like that's gonna be really easy because everything I'm gonna be doing is gonna be revolving around that, which I'm happy about. Like one thing that I'm gonna try new though in that realm is I want to try to join what is it called? The Scotty. I can't believe I'm forgetting.
Scotty Ventures.
Scotty Ventures, yeah, because like that club, it just sounds like a cool opportunity and something that like I didn't really hear about from any other schools when I was applying. So when I heard about it here, I was like, oh, that's really dope. Like I can't believe they offer this, especially like for something that's typically not, that's believed to not be like a learned or practiced trait. That's something you get into later in life. To have the opportunity to just give it a go now is unique, and I appreciate that. When it comes to working with kids, I'm still trying to figure out how I want that to exist at CMU. For me right now, like it's one of those things where it's like on one hand, like do I try to merge the two? Like one club I was looking at that merged the two was like, I think it was called Money Think, and Money Think was just like this is this club where you go to high school, where you go to high schools and like you help teach kids about like how money works, like money thing, like how money works, like provide some sort of semblance of like a financial education, because the general high school system unfortunately doesn't really cover that for whatever reason. So that interests me, but at the same time I'd also love to work with younger kids too. So I don't really know yet. Do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, so I guess for me, my recommendation would be to pick a club or two that are more academic based, like you mentioned, and try to find a club that's not academic based that can kind of be your release. So I think that Money Think is a great club, and maybe you want to join that too, but also finding something that like you can go to and not have to think about finance or think about, like, just go there and kind of relax, get off campus maybe eventually, and like just not have to worry about what you're doing and or what you've learned, and kind of just release. So a club that I was involved in was called PACE. I worked there for the year my sophomore year, and we were involved in civic engagement across all of CMU. And so we planned different events that maybe I guess probably most relevant is service Saturdays. So they planned events almost every other Saturday or so where you would go off campus and go volunteer at a different organization. So one of them we did was we went and helped train service dogs. Another one we went to like a Ronald McDonald house and helped them serve meals. One of them, it was at a medical center basically, and so in the United States, if it's getting close to its expiration date, we don't use it. But in other countries, it's still very usable. And so we would help organize and package our old medical equipment to be sent to other countries that they can use them and benefit them. So for me, PACE was more about diversifying what I did, because I did do a lot of tutoring in high school. But there are also definitely opportunities. Lincoln Elementary is a school that I've tutored at last year until this all happened, but they are in the nearby. You can Uber within 10-15 minutes, and I was just in a kindergarten classroom literally teaching people their letters and coloring. And so it was really great to just, again, leave campus, see a total different part of Pittsburgh, and learn to have fun coloring with little kids. Like, how often you get to do that anymore? So again, there's so many opportunities in Pittsburgh, and CMU promotes a lot of those opportunities. So I guess afterwards I can send you a link to like all of have you heard of the Bridge?
Yeah, that's the website with all the clubs.
Yes.
Right?
So I'll send you the link on the Bridge of the organizations I've been involved in with that. Definitely. So how has orientation week been?
So orientation week has been bizarre, obviously, with the pandemic. Like, it's something, like, it's not exactly what you imagine, like, your first week at college to be after, like, seeing it in movies and stuff. And, like,
It's nothing like the movies ever.
like the movies ever, but on top of that, like, there's no roommate, which is bizarre. Like, my dad keeps telling me, you have a bigger room, like, be thankful. I'm like, I love that I have a bigger room, but at the same time, like, the reason I have a bigger room is pretty depressing. But so I think for me, orientation week, it's been fun so far, and it's been great. So the way we've been doing it is we're like with our wingmates. So, like, I'm in the Donner house, and we're on the west wing on the second floor. So, like, the dozen of us that are living here, we're all together, and we're like quarantined together, but like we still wear masks and are socially distanced, but we're not really interacting with people outside of our wing. And it's cool though, because like you get to know people better that way, because as opposed to meeting like 1,000 different people and barely knowing their names, like I know everyone's name on my floor, and we've all gotten to know each other pretty well over the past week now. And I think, yeah, so I mean, it's been that and a lot of Zooms. The Zooms are cool because it's like finding out things like I otherwise wouldn't have known about the school. I think some of the Zooms that, like, you know, on my like 4th hour of Zoom of the day, I'm kind of like, okay, think I'm ready to log off. But the nice thing
We're
is
preparing for classes.
oh no, Zoom classes are gonna give me headaches. But no, the nice thing though is it always ends off at night with, like, they do more of like a fun social Zoom in the evening. So like yesterday we did, like, you could like choose different groups to join. I did a Netflix party with some people. And like one night we had like the Mentalist come. Another night we had this thing called Playfair, where like they're all like the most social, like talk to other people, have fun Zooms. So that's been really cool and something to look forward to every day. But yeah, no, orientation's been cool. It's been fun to live on my own and like see what that's like, and like live with my dorm and like meet my RA, Neville. Shout out to Neville, he's great. But yeah, it's been fun.
That's cool. And Sam, we're about to be out of time, so I just wanted to thank you. And I also want to emphasize to anyone that's watching, or Sam, to reach out to any upperclassmen or alumni early on. And everyone is willing to answer questions. Maybe it's about a homework assignment. Maybe you're not sure who to talk to about, like, which TA you should go to because you don't know what office hours are going to look like. Anything. I know that all upperclassmen are more than happy to, like, sit down and talk to any one of you and just kind of give you, maybe it's advice, maybe it's you don't know where to go off campus to get medicine. Like, anything like that, just reach out, and we'll be more than happy to give you guys recommendations or help, or even go with you if that's something that you need, or go for you if that's really something you need, because right now, who knows? But again, thank you, Sam, and I hope that everyone was able to understand a little bit more about, like, the experience, hear about a freshman's perspective, and kind of understand all the things that you can do.